Nothing has been submitted. Okay. All right. So we are ready, and Alderman, before we begin, I would like to make a prefatory remark, if I could, about so this meeting is being conducted virtually pursuant to Section 70 of the Illinois Open Meetings Act and the governor's ongoing declaration of emergency arising from the resurgent COVID-19 pandemic. There will be members of as the city attorney, I am present in the council chambers, as will be the mayor for later tonight. And Alderman Rivera, take it away.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Stu. Good evening, everyone. Today is Monday, February 7th. I would like to start the virtual Community Development Committee meeting. It's currently 5:01. If I could please have a roll call.
Chairman Rivera.
Present.
Alderman Moisio.
I'm sorry, here.
Alderman Florian.
Present.
Alderman Hayes.
Present.
Alderman Turner.
Present.
Okay, we have a quorum. Thank you. If I could please get a motion to approve the minutes of the regular Community Development Committee meeting of January the 3rd, 2022, please.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Alderman Florian, seconded by
I'll second it.
Alderman Hayes. Roll call, please.
Alderman Florian.
Aye.
Alderman Hayes.
Aye.
Alderman Turner.
Aye.
Alderman Moisio.
Aye.
Chairman Rivera.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, number 2, audience time. Is there anybody signed up for audience time to speak regarding anything on the Community Development Committee meeting?
Chairman Rivera, there were no public comments submitted at this time.
Okay, thank you very much, Stu. We will then go on to old business. We have a motion to approve an ordinance creating a Class E liquor license for Jack's Pizza and Burger, 1000 North Green Bay Road. I will need a motion and a second.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Alderman Turner, seconded by Alderman Moisio. Are there any questions concerning this? Yes, Alderman Florian.
So I had several questions when this was first brought up and I tabled it. I don't know, Attorney Weiss, is there anybody here to answer the questions that I had regarding this?
Stuart?
I'm looking to see if we have any guests in the waiting room. I don't have particular control over that. So I'm going to check with the with IT to see if there's anybody who still needs to be admitted to the waiting room. If you could give me a moment.
I believe they were informed of the meeting.
They were, and IT Director Vela is walking back to his office right now to check if there's anyone in the waiting room. So I would recommend maybe moving on to 4A and coming back to 3A in a few minutes.
All right. I will go ahead and take that recommendation then. Let's move on to new business, which is a motion to approve an ordinance creating a Class J license for Town Place Suites by Marriott, 404 Lakehurst Road. I will need a first and a second, please.
Make the motion.
Okay, Motion by Alderman Turner, seconded by Alderman Hayes. Are there any questions regarding this particular motion? If there be none, may I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Florian,
Aye.
Alderman Hayes,
Aye.
Alderman Turner,
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo,
Aye.
Chairman Rivera.
Aye. Okay, the motion passes. We do have two presentations coming up, and I'm just going to check and see if Eric has made it back.
Okay,
There's-
I have a Kenan Hartman and a Marcus Martinez. But I do not know if you guys published the actual Zoom to the public. So they,
Well, no, the information was sent to the petitioners for the motion. I know that emails went back and forth regarding the availability and the need that we had regarding any questions. Would this be something that we would then go ahead and table again, or just not move forward with it?
You have two options. And first, IT Director Vela, if you could let Marcus Martinez in, he is from the Corporation Counsel's Office. This matter, you have a few choices here. You could table it once again. You could consider it and vote on it. Or I would recommend taking some action though tonight, whether it be to table it to a future meeting or to do an up or down vote.
I think we should vote on it.
Okay,
And I think we should table it.
all right, I do have a request from an alderman to table this. So we'll go ahead and table it at this point. And if the petitioner, wants, we can probably do a special meeting the next council. But at this point, again, we invited them. We had some questions. I don't see anything being resolved here.
We've invited them twice. I mean, this is the second time we've asked them to come and they haven't come. Must not
Okay.
be very important to them, in my opinion.
Alderman Moiseo has his hand up.
Well, the thing you could do is you could vote it, put it to the council and then deal with it there. You could table it there. So that's already on the council agenda if that's amenable, but it's just a suggestion. You could vote it here in the committee and then get it to the council floor and then table it there or hold it there. So it doesn't have that way, when you get your questions answered, you're more ready to move forward with it as compared to holding it in committee. That's all might be my experience.
Gotcha.
What was
Point
the
well
question?
taken. Yes, Alderman Turner.
I'm sorry, excuse me for interrupting. I was just curious, what was the question that needs to be answered that warrants it not being taken for vote? We're gonna hold it over to answer what?
Well, the questions I had revolved around the fact that in the application, in one part of the application, it said they were going to be open from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. And another part of the application, it said they were going to be open from, I forget now, it's not in front of me, I apologize, but something like 9 a.m. to midnight or something. There were two different times, and that has actually been clarified by staff. But the rental agreement between the owner of the building and the person wanting to run the business stated it was going to be rented for purposes of office space, went into detail about how there needed to be carpets under the desks, and and they're getting a liquor license. It's a food establishment. So it was a very, as Stuart said to me, sloppy application. And now we've invited them twice to come here and explain what the reality is, and they haven't even bothered to show up.
Point
Table
well
it.
taken. Thank you very much, Alderman
Thank you.
Florian. It looks
Wow.
like Eric has his hand up. Do we have anybody in the waiting, Eric?
yes, Alderman Rivera, there is a phone number of 224 9198. And then there is a Keenan Hartman.
Yeah, I don't believe either of those are associated.
Are they here for audience time or are they here to answer Alderman Florian's questions?
That I could not answer.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
If,
At this
again,
point-
again, if we just, and I understand Alderman Florian's concerns, if it's a sloppy edge, application, Jack's Pizza and Burger they'd been around for a while, obviously went out of business because of COVID. I did get a call from them months ago about wanting to reopen. I was assuming that this was about. The thing about it is if we vote it out of committee and get it to the council floor, the next council meeting is in person. And if they don't show up at that one, it's on the council floor and we can just table it indefinitely until we get it. But I mean, if that's not what Alderman Florian wants to do and hold it in committee, it really doesn't matter. I was just trying to expedite the process. If we got the questions answered, then it would be a one meeting vote instead of a month.
Well, it was gonna be one meeting today. It's on the agenda today.
Correct.
So Stuart, what do you advise?
I would advise that this item has been held over at Alderman Florian's request one time. In general, and I'm not sure what Corporation Council previously advised, but in general, the aldermanic privilege to hold something over is good for one meeting. And if a applicant does not respond, they risk a no vote. And so I think that it would be advisable to proceed unless another member of the committee would like to make the motion to hold over, besides Alderman Florian.
I'm happy to jump in.
Okay, yes, Alderman Hayes.
Chairman, I understand, Stuart, or Council, thank you for weighing in. And Alderman Mosio, I agree with you from an efficiency standpoint. That might be the best way to go about it. But I don't know why we would do anybody a favor and get them out of committee if they can't even bother to show up. And they've been put on notice that there is a meeting, there are questions. And I think holding it over for one more meeting and requiring them to show up, it sounds like Alderman Florian has some valid questions and concerns, and we should hear them out. So I hear Alderman Florian out and allow her to ask her questions, and at least all have kind of some confidence or some clarity surrounding their application. So I don't think holding it over for one more meeting in committee is detrimental at all.
Hold on a moment. I have breaking news. I have the person, Lisa Papandreou. She's been waiting in the city council waiting room since 4:50 p.m.
That is indeed helpful.
Okay. Eric, would she be able to be let in?
The number is, we are watching. It says the number is 224-9198. 847-224-9198.
I've got it, Alderman. Thank you.
If we just, and I understand Alderman Florian's concerns.
Okay, looks like we're getting some feedback.
This is Jack's Pizza and Burgers.
Okay, thank you. Can you turn off the, it looks like you have a device on in the background and we're getting some feedback from that.
And we're calling from 9198.
Okay, perfect. All right, and can you state your name again, please?
Anna Papandreou.
Thank you very much, Anna. We do have some questions. Alderman Florian, if you can proceed.
Thank you, Chairman. Ms. Papandreou, my first question is, I just want some clarity around the hours you intend to operate. There was 2 different hours listed in the application, so I'd like to hear from you exactly what the hours are going to be.
We're going to open actually, I would like to open the restaurant 24 hours, but I know the liquor is not 24 hours. So from the time you guys allow it until stops. But I'm going to open up the restaurant 24 hours.
Okay, so Noel, are you on still? Oh, there you are. The squares keep moving around. So how does that work then? If someone has a liquor license, but they want to be open 24 hours, how do we control when they're serving liquor?
I would
can
actually maybe defer
only-
that to
I-
Stu. I'm not an expert on the liquor code.
Okay, I'm
I'm sorry.
sorry.
That's okay. I just don't want to misspeak.
Okay, corporate counsel?
Well, this is a little bit new to me because I believe the application said 6 to 2 a.m.
Right.
I'm pulling that up right now. And
Yeah,
if
looks to
you're-
be some inconsistencies here. I mean, I understand, wanting to move this forward, but I think it would be prudent to hold it over until we have this thing nailed down.
I do have another question I'd like to bring up too, Alderman, if you don't mind.
Yes,
So the other thing, the application included a copy of the lease, and the lease stated that the space was going to be used as an office and that there had to be carpets under the desk. And can you clarify what exactly the parameters of the lease are and why you listed office desks and stuff as part of the lease?
I never done that. I never put no office desks or anything.
It's in there, ma'am. I read the whole thing. It's in there.
It's the same thing I've always done. I never had no offices or desks or,
Well, you probably
What-
need a different lease because you have a lease for someone who's renting office space, not a restaurant.
I have a lease in there for office space?
Mm-hmm, yep. Am I correct, Stuart?
It can't be my lease for office space. It's a restaurant. I never had a office lease. The kitchen and the dining room.
I think it even says that food isn't allowed or something, doesn't it, Stuart? That I forget what like I said, I don't have it here in front of me. I apologize, but I remember
Been in
something
there
about,
15 years.
well,
It appears to be like a form lease that was entered into approximately a decade and a half ago and probably has not been updated. Now, that doesn't necessarily prevent us from issuing a liquor license. It is allowed to be, I mean, it is a restaurant is a permitted use in this area. And I believe that the actual lessor and lessee are related in this case. Now, granted, I don't know if, this is we don't usually look that deeply into a lease aside from the term, into the actual substantive terms of it, though.
I still don't understand.
Ask them to email you what they have.
Can you, okay.
Hi, this is technology. Can you email her what you guys are?
well, I believe what they're looking at is the actual application that was made.
No, they're saying they have a lease that's from 10 and a half years ago. That's for office space. That's what somebody said. There's no office. I mean, any of you that have eaten know there's no office space there.
Been there 15 years. I never had an office space. 15 years I've been in there.
Okay, so we definitely need some
Nick-
clarification
Hold on.
here.
Yeah, Ms. Papandreou, what I would, the lease is from 2017. And it appears to be a form lease. I don't know if you worked with an attorney on it. I don't know if you got it out of a book, but it does say that it was for general office purposes only. That is not probably descriptive of the actual use that has been the long-term use. And this is only coming up because your business closed and you're reopening it now. From my legal opinion, this does not prevent the city council from basically creating a new available restaurant liquor license for this, and then if we can work out with the applicant to ensure that they have the proper documentation to have this issued.
What about the 24-hour deal, though? I mean,
If I may.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wait, I had Alderman Mosio raise his hand first.
This is a business that had been in business for 10+ years and closed down because of COVID.
Right.
To me, their lease agreement is irrelevant as far as the city. The city's not in the business of looking at people's lease agreements with businesses and landlords now. The conditions of their hours of operation and things like that, that is our concern. So we maybe need to get that buttoned up. But again, this is not a new business. These people have been in business 10+ years at the same location and had to close because of COVID. I don't think it's something we need to make people. COVID hit enough people hard enough as it is. And I'm not really concerned about what's in their lease agreement. Am I concerned about their hours of operation? Yeah, that's a simple fix. We're just granting a liquor license, and we'll go forward with after that about hours of operations and things of that sort, right, Stuart?
Yes, and so the hours of operation, per the request of the licensing department, were updated from 6 to 1 a.m. during the week and 6 to 2 a.m. on the weekends. To Alderman Florian's question of a business that would have longer operating hours than permitted serving hours, that is permitted, but that's not what is in the application right now. The application simply says hours of operation 6 a.m. to 1 a.m. on weekdays and 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. on weekends.
And we will stick to that if that's the liquor laws to make it easier for everybody, including us.
Alderman Turner you have a comment?
No, sir, Mr. Weiss cleared that up. I was gonna make the same comment as he did. Thank you.
Okay, so the concern regarding the 24 hours, if we have that in writing for our next meeting, Alderman Florian, would it be okay to move this forward at this point?
if the rest of the committee is fine with this, you can move it forward now. I'm not gonna hold it over. If the corporate council thinks it's fine and the rest of the committee thinks it's fine, and he said I can't hold it over again anyway, so I have no
Okay,
skin in the game.
well, and
Just to clarify, it can be held over, but a separate committee member would have to make that motion.
I do have a request from Alderman Hayes, so I will ask Alderman Hayes if he would like to hold it over or if he would like to have it move forward, and then we can have, before vote in council, the clarification on the hours.
Hey, Mr. Rivera, if I may.
Yes,
So the operating hours of the restaurant are irrelevant to the application for the liquor license. The liquor license stipulates specifically what hours they're asking to sell liquor, from 9 to 1 a.m. or whatever it is, right? If they can operate the restaurant for 24, lots of businesses, restaurants have 24-hour business, and they don't sell liquor beyond a certain time. This would be no different. So
yeah, understood. I think it's just the verbiage on the application is what we're kind of debating right now. Alderman Hayes?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. I think in light of the fact that the applicant is on the phone call and tried to at least bring some clarification to the application, I don't see why we can't just move it forward. It's disappointing when you're applying to sell liquor. We want people to be organized and clear and definite in what their intentions are. So I would just say that as a general statement, but I don't think we should hold this up unnecessarily if we can move it along.
Great, thank you for your comment. Stuart, if we move this along, do you think that we could have for the next council meeting, at least, this thing nailed down regarding the hours?
Yes, where I will request that the applicant work with Itzel and Ruth in licensing department to obtain clarity regarding how their proposed hours of service of alcohol relate to their proposed hours of operation and being open to the public.
Okay, great. All right, thank you very much. I believe we do have a motion and a second, correct, Noel?
That's correct, sir. I have a motion by Alderman Turner and a second by Alderman Moiseo.
Okay, at this point, we go for a vote.
Alderman Florian,
No,
Alderman Hayes,
Aye.
Alderman Turner,
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo,
Aye.
Chairman Rivera.
Aye. Okay, now we move on to the, thank you very much, everyone. That was a great discussion. Now we move on to the reports and communications. And as far as the petitioner, you can feel free to leave the meeting at this point. We've moved it forward, and you'll probably be hearing from corporate counsel or Noel regarding the hours. Yes, Alderman Mosio.
I was just gonna tell Lisa, get your stuff in order and get it to the city so we can move this forward, please.
Yeah,
That's it.
I will help Anna get her stuff in order, and she will call Itzel tomorrow to get everything consistent. She
Okay.
should have brought me in here.
Thank you, Lisa.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Okay, reports and communications. We have a presentation regarding the Community Development Block Grant Department, CDBG. And I believe Larissa is on. Yes.
Yes, good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. I have a presentation. Let me share my screen. Okay,
Okay.
can everyone see it?
Yep, there it is.
Okay. Okay, so Community Development Block Grant Program. So CDBG provides an annual grant. It's based on a formula basis in which cities like ours, we receive an amount of money in order to provide decent, a safe, sanitary, and suitable living environment for people who are principally low to moderate income low to moderate income persons within our community. So this is our organizational chart. It's myself,
Share on the screen?
Yes,
I don't see it.
it says you are sharing screen. No one can see it?
I can see it.
I can see it, Larissa.
You can't see it, Alderman?
I can see it.
me too.
Yeah, I can see it, Larissa.
Okay,
Alderman Turner, try your view settings and see if you can choose side by side or standard, perhaps. See if that helps.
Go ahead, don't wait for me.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So my organizational chart for my department, it's myself, CDBG Director, Sharon Zavala. She is the compliance coordinator. She's the newest hire. Wayne Bailey, he's the rehabilitation coordinator. And then we have 2 temporary staff members from Express that serves for as an office supervisor. And then we have an additional rehabilitation coordinator. Okay, organizational changes that I would like to implement. I would like to streamline the processes to provide different opportunities for eligible individuals and businesses within our community. I want to be able to advertise and publicize the accomplishments and the activities that we've done in the community to educate the public about the type of opportunities CDBG and home programs provide for the city, and to develop an efficient housing rehab program, since that's the main goal of HUD is housing, to increase the opportunity for contractors to be a part of our program, which I'll talk about it later. We had a very successful open house, and to also provide maintenance education to our homeowners throughout the community to help preserve our housing stock that we help with the housing rehab program. Some of the major challenges that I faced this year with the program, we've implemented several new programs. However, due to COVID, weather conditions, cost of supplies, marketing, and participation from people, that's been a major challenge in being able the progress of the program. So going forward, we're hoping that things get better with COVID. We're able to get into people's homes and businesses to be able to go forward with our anticipated goals. Staff shortage, had 2 unexpected departures of essential staff who left last year. However, we did hire Sharon to take the compliance coordinator spot. However, she's still in the process of learning and being trained. Also, the purchase ordinance, that's also a barrier to the progress and the success of the housing rehab program, not to mention other programs as well. Before we used to be able to come to you with the action plan, get that approved at the beginning of the year, and we were able to spend our money effectively for the CDBG program projects that we had stated we would spend in the action plan earlier. The lack of qualified contractors for the housing rehab program. Only 20% of our total grant allocation and any program income that we take in can be used for our administrative costs. So for anything outside of rehab, in order to pay someone to work for us, only 20% can be used for that. CDBG, we receive our funding at least 4 to 5 months into the program year before we're able or that the funds become available for us to cover program costs. So puts us back in being able to start right at May 1. And then all projects are anticipated to be completed before or by April 30th. That's the goal of each year. But again, for the things that I mentioned earlier, that would be a barrier to being able to complete those projects on time. The budget. I am still in the process of working on my budget with some changes with finance. We have to come up with some different geo codes and identify what some geo codes were being used for. So I'm just going to do a justification here. With the assistance of the city's general fund allocation covering the benefits, and if CDBG covers the base salary, I could hire 2 additional full-time staff members, the rehabilitation coordinator and office supervisor needed to effectively administer the program. As I mentioned before, the 20%, that stops us from being able to hire anyone that's doing anything outside of the housing rehab. And then with CDBG, the same thing, us not being able to get our funding until we're halfway into the program year. Hiring a rehab coordinator will provide an opportunity for us to be able to assist income eligible homeowners for us to be able to complete more homes and provide support throughout the year. The office supervisor will assist in creating a productive professional environment and provide administrative support to myself and the overall department. Public facilities and infrastructure improvement programs. So with the CDBG program identifies publicly owned facilities and infrastructure such as streets, sidewalks, parks, utilities, buildings owned by nonprofits just such as the library, Waukegan Park District, Waukegan Housing Authority. Those are examples that are open to the general public and not used for religious reasons only, as infrastructure and public facility improvements. So I wanted to show you an example of sidewalk improvement program before, and for some reason my picture is not showing up. Okay, there's one, that's the before. And then that would be the after. I'm sorry, these are the before pictures. And then here are the after pictures of the sidewalk improvement program, which we are going to do this upcoming spring. So the goals identified for the Community Development Block Grant Program, we have housing strategy. There's a need for decent, safe, and sanitary housing that is affordable and accessible to homeowners and home buyers within our community. Goal 1, housing support assists low to moderate income households to access decent, safe, and sanitary housing that is affordable and accessible for sale through housing counseling and down payment, closing cost assistance with opportunity in close proximity to public transportation, employment, and community services. And then the housing rehab to conserve and rehabilitate existing affordable housing units occupied by owner occupied to address code violations, emergency repairs, and handicap accessibility. Our second goal is homeless strategy. There's a need for housing and services and facilities for homeless persons and persons at risk of becoming homeless in our community. So our goals, we want to support the continuum of care, efforts to provide emergency shelter and transitional housing, also permanent housing, support social service programs, permanent supportive housing services, and facilities for the homeless and persons at risk of being homeless. Our third goal, other special needs strategies. There's a need for housing, services, facilities, and for persons with special needs. So support and increase in the supply of decent housing that is affordable for elderly persons, persons with disability, persons with HIV/AIDS, victims of domestic violence, persons with alcohol and drug dependency, persons with mental health needs, and persons with other special needs or rehabilitation of housing units. And also social services, support social service programs and facilities for elderly persons, persons with disability, persons with HIV victims, the same people that we mentioned before. The next goal is, the priority is, there's a need to improve community facilities, infrastructure, public services, and the overall quality of life in the city. The first one is community facilities and infrastructure, improve the city's public facilities and infrastructure through rehabilitation, reconstruction, and new construction, providing opportunity for broadband access in conjunction with other projects. So that's what we're working on, a broadband project. Public services, to invest in community service that promote and enhance targeted populations to improve quality of life. And then to improve public and common use areas to be readily accessible and usable for persons with disability. Okay, then we have our other accomplishments. So we're working on our accomplishments. We have economic development programs. We actually have a total of 3, but currently we have the facade improvement program, and then we have the CARES Act Small Business Grant Program. With the facade program, we are at the point where we have completed the renderings for the businesses located on the 1400 block of Washington Street and Buttrick. They are finished. So I just wanted to show you the renderings that we came up with, and we will be again going back out, showing the businesses the renderings to get them interested in being a part of it. We have 2 people who are already interested, but we would try to get both sides of that block interested. Okay, here's 1419 Washington Street. These are the changes that we're proposing. And this is 1408 through 1418 Washington Street. So making glass, putting the lighting up, doing awnings, if they want it, if they would like to do awnings, rail signage. Address being on the above the entry. This is 1401 Washington Street. Currently is where the daycare is. So we were going to do glazed windows so that they would not be able to see in, but they could see out, because I know that was an issue for her. This is 1409 Washington Street. So that's what it presently looks like. And this is what we're proposing. Signage, lighting, the sign, and then the lights on the side of the wall, and changing how the door currently is in the windows. So opening it up more. So with the CARES Act Small Business Grant Program, the program has increased the amount available, the funding from 5,000, it was 5,000 to 15, now it's up to 5,000, up to $25,000 to a business to help them with things such as utilities, rents, payroll, PPE. As an example, a total of 9 businesses have received assistance through this program today. Our next accomplishments are our public service programs. We funded a total of 12 agencies and 13 programs. So we funded a Safe Place, Emergency Shelter and Children's Program. A total of 51 clients have received assistance through this program. The next one is Casa Lake County. This is for legal advocacy for youth in care. A total of 212 children have received assistance. Elder care, transportation for older adults to age in place. A total of 91 seniors have received assistance through this program. The Joslin Center, psychiatric clinic services, a total of 45 clients have received assistance. Little City, a total of 33 clients have received assistance through this program as well. Northern Illinois Food Bank, a total of 3,927 clients have received assistance through this program. And these are Waukegan residents that I'm reporting on. North Suburban Legal Aid Clinic, Domestic Housing and Immigration Legal Aid. A total of 75 clients have received assistance through this program. PADS, a total of 361 clients have received assistance through this program. Prairie State Legal Services, we fund them for both our Fair Housing Program and the Public Benefits Legal Advocacy Project. A total of 20 clients have received assistance. So for the public benefit, it was 13 people, and for fair housing, it was 7 people. Youth Bill Lake County, a total of 22 students from City of Waukegan have received assistance. And a total of 9 clients have received assistance through the Zachariah Sexual Abuse Center, sexual assault services for children. We also have our Waukegan, City of Waukegan Water Bill Relief Program. A total of 29 households have received assistance and qualified for this program. Okay, accomplishments regarding the housing rehab program. So the program has completed 9 homes thus far, and there are 4 homes that are in progress right now. And we continue to maintain a waiting list where there are 85 people on the list currently. These are examples of completed rehab projects. So this is the before with the housing exterior, siding, windows, and staircase replacement. So this is what it looked like before. This is what it looked like after. Stair unit replacement, the before and after. Basement drain tile, vapor wall, and drywall replacement. This is the before and then the after. This is a roof and gutter replacement. This was the before. And this was the after. Bedroom window and wall replacement. This was the before. And this was the after. This is the bathroom. We replaced the entire bathroom. This is the before. And this is the after. We did cabinet replacement here on this home. This was the before. And this was the after. We did a ramp replacement. This is the before. And here's the after. So I just wanted to speak on the housing rehab. We had the contractors open house on January 20th. It was a great success. Over 30 contractors attended the event. And to date, 9 contractors have signed up to participate with the housing rehab program. These are just some pictures from the event. So the city of Waukegan, we get 2 sources of funding. Currently we're getting CARES Act, which that's going to end this year, but we always get home investment partnership and of course CDBG. So home funds, they are awarded to formula grants and we are participating jurisdiction. Along with us is the city of Waukegan, city of North Chicago and Lake County. We are part of the consortium, and with us coming together, we are able to receive home funds yearly. And they address things such as grants, direct loans, loan guarantees, other form of credit enhancement, rental assistance, Social Security deposits. We also can do housing rehab as well with this funding. So Waukegan First Time Homebuyers Program, we work in partnership with the Community Partners for Affordable Housing, which is SEPA. They administer the First Time Homebuyers Program on our behalf. And this year, 4 families from the city of Waukegan were able to receive down payment assistance. They give up to 5% of the purchase price to help with down payment and closing costs necessary so that they're able to purchase their first home. We also use home funds approximately for the Barwell project. We gave over $700,000 in home funds toward the rehab of Barwell Manor. And this is of course the before. I forgot the name for sure. I thought it was the Sheridan Bluff, but I think it may be something else. And this is the after. And that's it. Any questions?
Great presentation, Ms. Garland. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Are there any questions?
Yes, I
Yes,
just
Alderman
want to,
Florian.
I'm sorry.
You can get Alderman Bolton first, it's fine.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for, I just want to acknowledge her and thanking her for her presentation. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, And I think the new name is the Sheraton Blessed Homes, or something to that effect. The residents there renamed the project.
Oh, okay. I meant to check on that and forgot to do that.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Alderman Florian, and then I'll go to Alderman Hayes.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you for that, Larissa. I really enjoy these presentations to get an idea of where we're at and where we're going and what we've done. The before and after pictures you have a distinct advantage over other groups because you can show these amazing transformations. My only question is about the waiting list. Is that like normal for a community our size to always have a waiting list like that? I know you and I have talked about it before, but I'm just curious, like other communities of our size, that's just normal to have that many people waiting?
Yes, it's normal. It's
Okay.
actually been larger, and we get calls, and especially this time of year, we just had a woman, we had just finished her roof, and in the midst of us finishing her roof, her furnace went out completely. So now, since we're already there, that's an emergency. We're going to go ahead and take care of her furnace. We found out last week. We're getting her furnace. We're doing a signing off on it tomorrow, and hopefully getting it in Wednesday. So we're trying to. So with emergencies, there's still a waiting list, but we try to get to them as fast as we can, especially this time of year. Furnaces are absolute must, this time of year, so you would make an exception. And so that's the thing, we have the list, we have them in order, but if someone comes in and there's no furnace, we're then having to go to that person as opposed to continuing down the list as you would.
Right. Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Okay, Alderman Hayes, and then I believe Alderman Kirkwood has a question.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Thank you for the presentation. I have a couple of questions about the economic development programs, in particular the facade improvement programs. What constitutes part of the facade improvement? Is it like landscaping and planting trees? I mean, curb appeal is a big topic in the city, and kind of beautifying what you see from the street on the businesses. Does that qualify, or is it just windows and lights and doors and things of that nature?
For us, and currently windows and lights, just anything that's on the front of the building.
Okay.
That deals with the look of the building overall. That's what we're addressing.
Okay, and thank you. And as it relates to 1419, or I think it was 1408, 1419, Washington, you said you had renderings and they were beautiful. Have those been accepted, or did we proactively prepare those and now we're pitching them to the owners of those buildings? Like how does that process work?
Yeah, so we work with a consultant, and Steve Sabrin from the Wills office has been my right-hand person. So we've been so we kind of put out a filler to the business owners. Are you interested in this? Is this something you would like to do? And so out of the people, only 2 really came out and said that they were interested. So we decided, okay, let's go with this block. And so we just, they came out, took pictures of the actual buildings, did the renderings, they presented something to us. We said, well, we would like to see this, can you do this? So we kind of went back and forth. And so the renderings that you see tonight are the finished version of what we came up with that we like.
Okay, and have those been accepted by the business owners, or really the landlords that own the properties?
Right, so no, they have not. So this is the point where we want to go back out and then say, look, this is what we have. Are you interested in being a part of this program? This is what we would like to see. So,
okay.
Yeah, we're at that point.
I'd be shocked if somebody doesn't want to see a facelift to their building, especially one that looks that beautiful. So it should be an easy sell. If I can help in any way, please let me know. I'd be happy to do that. My last question for you is with similar to Alderman Florian's. point about the waiting list, totally understandable that there is a waiting list. Of course, a lot of people want to use your services. But what's the biggest hurdle that your office has, or like biggest challenge? I don't know if it's funding or personnel, but the biggest challenge to being able to get through that waiting list.
We're currently, and I know that legal is working with me to get that, but us having to come to council to deal with something that's over $20,000 each and every time that we have a house. So depending on when it falls, we may have to wait 2 weeks before we get there to get it approved. Meanwhile, we've been through, the bidding process and income verification process, and we did all of that. And then we're coming to you. I mean, it's almost 2 months. Sometimes it takes to do one project to start.
Wow.
So
Okay.
that has been a big barrier. Before we were able to go ahead, get the income verification, do the bidding, do the contracts, and let's go. So hopefully we're working toward getting that handled.
All right. Well, if there's something that the committee or the council can do to streamline that process for you, and I'm just throwing this out there, I don't even know if this is possible, but if it's upping that limit, or if it's some way to make that process more efficient, we certainly don't want to hold up your using the funds to help people in the community. So if you have any ideas, I'm all ears, but certainly happy to help in any way possible.
Thank you.
Thank you for your questions, Alderman Hayes, and you do bring up a good point. Streamlining the process would probably shorten that waiting list. So, we do have a little bit of work to do to help her along. But Alderman Kirkwood, you had a question or a comment, sir?
Yes, thank you for the presentation, Mrs. Garland. As far as the projects that are happening on Washington Street, which is in the 4th Ward, anything that I can do to talk with those businessmen so that we can get them on board with the renderings, let me know. Also, my other questions, I will make an appointment to talk with you specifically regarding some of the things that you're doing, sidewalk programs and some of the needs for the homeless population. So I'll make an appointment to sit down with you regarding that.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Alderman Kirkwood. Alderman Mosio.
Yeah, I'm sort of along with Alderman Hayes here. I think we all know, and Larissa, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but CDBG is heavily regulated and audited by the federal government, correct?
Yes.
I don't see any reason why we have to be another fly in the ointment. So maybe there's a way we can get to our ordinance and somehow repeal the $20,000 threshold and make it a higher one, or come up with a number. I mean, CDBG is regulated, very heavily by, like I said, the federal government. There's no reason for us to be another fly in the ointment. So Alderman Hayes, to your point, I just say we do away with it and let them go about their business and help people. And, if we can do that, let's just do it.
So Alderman Moiseo, we are working right now with CDBG on some creative ways to do this. As you pointed out, Larissa's department has to do an annual community action plan that has to go through a public hearing. That really is their budget. They have to act quickly. They do have to conform with federal bidding requirements. And so what we're talking about is possibly either like a quarterly pre-authorization of a certain amount by the council, or quarterly ratification. So Larissa would basically come back in and say, here's what we did over the past 3 months. It's in accordance with our budget. We conformed with all federal bidding requirements, and the council would more or less retroactively ratify. And so Marcus Martinez from my office is working on that right now.
So moved.
Hey, great, great presentation. Thank you very much, Ms. Garland. Thank you, Alderman, for the feedback and the questions. Again, very good presentation. Now, if there are no other questions or comments regarding this presentation, we do have another presentation. This one, I believe Noel is going to be doing, is the presentation regarding the planning zoning and economic development.
Yes, sir. And if I can just chime in a little bit, some of you may know that I spent my first 10 years for the city working in Larissa's department and the CDBG department. So I have a history there too. The example that she gave of Steve Sabrin from my staff is an excellent example of the partnership that we create between departments, particularly on the third floor, if I can brag about us over here on the third floor of City Hall. We work exceptionally well together, and we seek out ways to support and help each other be successful. And, you know, Larissa and I talk almost on a daily basis and touch base on things we're doing. We had a waiting list back in the 90s when I was in CDBG of over 400 at one point in time. It's an enormous waiting list. So having a waiting list is not unusual at all. And I'll also point out that the amount of money that she's working with for her CDBG grant is roughly the same number that we were working with in 1990. Her grant has not grown significantly, though you obviously know how costs have grown during that time. So I think she's doing an outstanding job with what she has to work with, and I'm really proud of her as her colleague.
You know, well,
you're welcome. So I'm going to share my presentation here. I'm going to turn off my video because I keep getting a notice that my system resources are low. So I'll try to keep my audio on, and I'll turn off the video, and hopefully you'll be able to see my screen here. Hopefully. Can you see it?
Not yet. Okay, there it is.
Okay. All right. So I didn't add economic development on here because I wanted to let you see the pretty picture. And this rendering here is the watercolor from the Downtown and Lakefront Master Plan, our plan that won national, internationally competitive actually awards during that time. And this plan has been adopted as part of the comprehensive land use plan. So it's still our future vision with some minor modifications. Benjamin Franklin once said, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. And that's absolutely true. It's important that the city plan to know what direction it wants to go, excuse me, to have everybody working in the same direction. And here you see Ben Franklin as a city planner. Just kidding. Your planning, zoning, and economic development team currently consists of 5 people. I'm seeking to add 3 more. We have 1 pending retirement coming up this summer. We just had a retirement in October. The person who retired in October, Russ Tomlin, is somebody who had roughly 28 years of experience with the city. Steve Sabrin's planning to retire this summer, and he has, well, at that time, he'll have 21 years of experience with the city. Together, these 5 people on this team have almost 39 years of service in the planning and zoning department at the city of Waukegan and over 67 years of service to the city and its residents. Between the 5 of us, we have 6 bachelor's degrees and 2 master's degrees. What we do an incredible number and variety of things. Most importantly, we're focused on customer service. We try to meet the needs of our customers, whether they're actually the customers of the planning department or not. We try to be responsive to customers all the time and help get them the information they need, whether it's from us or somebody else. We staff this committee and the broadband committee of the city council. We staff and prepare everything for the Planning and Zoning Commission and the Historic Preservation Commission. We evaluate, process, review, and advance conditional use permits, variances, subdivisions, consolidations, site plans, annexations, right-of-way vacations, disconnections, ordinance redrafting, and residential and commercial building permits. On the economic development side, we review business licenses. We review, respond to, sometimes draft incentive agreements. We help businesses on a regular basis with site selection and relocation. And also when they're seeking to move out of Waukegan, we make every effort to keep them here. We work on tax increment financing requests, enterprise zone certifications. We're currently working on a revision to the entire enterprise zone boundary, as you may recall from the fall. We work closely with Lake County partners. I serve as the city's representative on the Lake County Land Bank Authority. I have been on the Lake County Workforce Development Board for about 15 years, and I also serve on the Employer Linkages Committee of the Workforce Development Board. Several of us, Thomas and Isabel and I, all serve on the Connect Waukegan Broadband Task Force. And Thomas is the primary contact for the governor's office, the Office of Broadband, Illinois Connected Communities. Several of us, Steve and I think we'll have Isabel start serving on the Waterfront Working Group, which is a group that includes staff members from multiple departments at the city, as well as the Park District, the Port District, and the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. We work on grants. We apply for grants. We manage grants. We help other departments with grants. We currently have one open one from Laresa's department. Thank you, Laresa. Another partnership opportunity. We work on environmental projects. At the present time, since Marcus Pitchford left, my staff is the lead on a lot of legislative matters. So there's so much that we do. My son once described my work here as the marshmallow stuff in a Rice Krispie treat. And he was more accurate than anybody would have thought. We try to fill in the blanks and help make sure that things get accomplished, whether or not they truly belong in our department. Here's some of the stuff that we want to do. These are some of your existing plans. Not one of these is sitting on a shelf. We don't have any plans that just sit, in spite of the sometimes narrative that our plans sit on the shelf. They don't. We make constant efforts to try to implement them, though having more staff on the team will help us be more proactive in that implementation. So going from top left across the top row, then down to the second row, this is your current 2020 Waukegan Comprehensive Land Use Plan. Next to that is the Northern Lakeshore Trail Connectivity Plan. That was a partnership between Waukegan, North Chicago, Beach Park, Zion, and Winthrop Harbor, and the IDNR that was done by CMAP, the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning. The next one is our award-winning Downtown and Lakefront Master Plan. The Washington Street Commercial Corridor Plan, that was another CMAP grant. The South Sheridan Revitalization Plan, that's focused on the South Avenue, South Sheridan, or South Genesee Street area in the first ward, and revitalizing that stretch along Genesee Street. On the bottom row left is the Lakefront Active Implementation Plan, focused on generating activity at the beach and what can we do to solve some of, not just at the beach, but at the lakefront in general, and generating what we can do to solve connectivity problems and things of that nature. The Beach Management Plan, Lakefront Active Implementation Plan and Beach Management Plan were funded through grants from the Illinois Department of Natural Resources Coastal Management Program. And the Beach Management Plan is a sub-plan to the Active Implementation Plan to help lay out how we go forward and implement those projects and what types of things we need to do on a regular basis to properly manage all of the amenities at the beach. And the next plan is one that you approved more recently. This is the City of Waukegan Sustainability Plan. That's the one that Maya presented to you. This is a live QR code. So if you'd like a printed copy of this plan, this presentation, let me know, and you can use that QR code to connect directly to all of these plans, which are on the planning department section of the city's website. Just a few of our accomplishments and challenges. A lot of the things that we do aren't things that are easily quantified, but some of the things that we've done recently. We've worked on 12 conditional use permits, 2 conditional use permit amendments, 2 text amendments, 2 right-of-way vacations, 1 map amendment, 2 site plan approvals, 2 preliminary and final plats of subdivision. And we have an ongoing project that's really a sort of behind the scenes project, but it's really impactful. In order to improve the quality of the background information that multiple departments are using to tie projects to geographic locations. We have a project that's led by Kathy Reinhardt on my team, who's there in the council chambers handling phone calls for the meetings tonight. She's a multi-talented person. She's comparing over 50,000 address records, and it's probably ultimately across all of the databases closer to 100,000 in multiple databases, trying to correct all the discrepancies and identify what information is missing so that the data that we're using in all these departments to tie to addresses is accurate and current. Some of our big challenges at the present time are the recent and upcoming retirements. That's over 50 years of experience and knowledge about the city. It's institutional knowledge that cannot be replaced. And so trying to soak up as much information as we can from people before they leave and have people here to absorb some of that information and get trained by outgoing people is really critical. With 5 people on our team, we are understaffed. In 2008, we had 7, and we were understaffed at that point in time. Deerfield, with a population of 19,000, now our population is nearing 90,000. Deerfield has a population of just over 19,000. They have 3 dedicated planning staff, and they have access to 5 other people for certain matters around economic development and that kind of thing. Highland Park, with under 30,000 people, has 5.5 full-time people. Arlington Heights, 74,000 population, has 9.5 people. Vernon Hills, with over 26,000 residents, has 5 people. Joliet has 13 people. So more staff isn't just more bodies here to be responsive to customers, it's that also. But more importantly, it gives us the opportunity to choose things in our comprehensive plan and in our other plans that are important to the city council, that are important to the mayor, that are important to the community, and make concerted efforts actively to implement those goals. One of our other challenges is that we have a really knowledgeable professional staff who, when making recommendations to the council, we consider all of the broad impacts on the city, the precedents that have been established or that would be established by those decisions. We look at a tremendous number of factors, and we spend a great deal of time talking about the issues around a recommendation and what that recommendation really means. And we back it all up with the city's codes. When our recommendations are wholly disregarded by the city council, it sets the city up for future problems and challenges. We really make an effort to protect the city government and to protect the residents of the city of Waukegan with our recommendations. So I tried to summarize some of our goals really quickly here, and I know we're late on our team, on our committee here, so I want to be as brief as I can. But I talked already about exceptional customer service. That's really a goal for our department. We have people who answer our phones all the time. If somebody calls our main number, they will speak to somebody the same day, even if somebody can't answer right in that moment. But usually calls get answered. Our main line rings on everybody's telephone in the department. One of my objectives going forward, I've mentioned bringing on new people. Get those people trained, not just within the city, but I think it's important that our team have access to outside training opportunities, to have access to cross-training within our department and across the hall with Larissa and the building department, and understand each other's goals and priorities so that we can be supportive of each other. I also think it's important that we take opportunities to have staff seek certifications and credentials, because it not only benefits them personally, but it benefits the city in a broader way. It's important for us to proactively implement goals from the comprehensive plan and other city plans. And so that means more people, more feet on the ground, more brains in the room, more ability to act. And our ultimate goal is to make Waukegan a community of choice, a place where people want to be. And by doing so and being successful with our efforts, it reduces the need for us to provide incentives. It makes developers want to be here. So my budget request this year is 3 new hires, 2 assistant planners and 1 planner. We obviously need furniture and office and operating supplies, computers, those kinds of things to go with it. I'd like the opportunity to be able to promote my staff when they have earned that promotion and to increase their pay accordingly. I want them to be able to get training and certifications and bring credentials to this community, so that even though we know that we have expert staff, having those letters behind people's names gives everybody the assurance that we have expert staff. I've also made a request to have additional funding in the budget so that when opportunities to acquire real estate become available, that we can seize those opportunities in a very proactive way, in a way that advances our development goals. Daniel Burnham, who had a plan for Waukegan in 1902 and who Chicago's plans are modeled after, and whose name one of the awards that our master plan for the downtown and lakefront won, whose name that plan was. It was Daniel Burnham. And he said, make no small plans. They have no magic to stir men's blood and probably themselves will not be realized. Make big plans, aim high and hope and work. So that's what we want to do. We want to make no little plans. We have big plans for this great community. We've had a lot of public input in those plans, and we want more opportunities to implement those plans for the benefit of the entire city. Sorry that I raced through that, but wanted to try to get us back to on time a little bit. Can I answer any questions?
Yeah, now you can take a breath. Thank you for that presentation. That was great. Do we have any questions for Noel? Yes, Alderman Florian.
I just wanted to make a comment. I really appreciate your professionalism, Noel, and I know sometimes your department gets a bad rap from certain people about, you know, it takes too long or whatever, but I know you guys are always trying to do your best, and I appreciate that. And I'm grateful for the work that you guys do.
Thank you very much. We did have a comment recently from a developer that went through a process with us who said they couldn't believe how fast we were. And we hear that privately from a lot of developers. You know, what we used to get criticized for when people would say that we took too long, it's usually a problem on their end, because at this time, we don't accept applications that aren't complete. So if they can't get their application complete, it's in their hands, not in ours. Once an application is complete, it's 12 weeks to finish unless there's a holdover. And that's at the outset if the dates are all wrong. If the dates are right, it can be as quick as 10 weeks, which is really fast for a development process.
Great, thank you. Yes, Alderman Mosio has a question, comment?
I just, Noel, I will definitely support your request for more staff. That, to me, that would go to the top of in the budget process. So I just want to say that out in public, that I will definitely support you for more staff. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Alderman Mosey. Alderman Kirkwood, you have a question or a comment, sir?
I have both. Thank you, Noel, for the presentation. But in terms of the overall plan, you know, as we look at smart plans, you know, smart planning goals and things of that nature, where are we at, you know, in terms of the lakefront development, looking at some of the property that the city has bought, you know, for trying to get developers come in? Have we put specific dates when we're trying to do that and what we're trying to do? And I understand that you're understaffed, but what that process is. And like I said, I will talk with you offline, but those are some concerns I have, because a lot of the development is in the downtown area as well as the lakefront is in the 1st and the 4th ward. So just give that some thoughts. You know, I know that we're behind time, so I won't look for a response now. I'll set up an appointment with you by telephone. Get some of those answers.
Great, thank you, Alderman Kirkwood.
May I give a brief response on that? Because I think it would be for everybody's benefit, just to hear a little bit. So one of the things that we hear from developers is they want assurance. They want to understand the landscape that they're working in. So with regard to the lakefront, some of the sites that we'd like to put out for a request for proposals or a request for qualifications are already clean. The Coke plant site, for example, which is the site just east of Larson Marine on the west side of that eastern north-south leg of Seahorse Drive, if that wasn't more confusing than it already was. All those directions, so many directions. So that site's clean. It has, it's been cleaned through the US EPA Superfund site. It has part of the soil cover on it that it needs. We'd like to put that out for requests for proposals along with the Johnson Motor site, the gravel area to the south that the city owns, where we tore down the building a number of years ago, and also the OMC headquarters site to the north. Now that site has been cleaned up by the US EPA, but they're still working on preparing the soil management plan. And the soil management plan is a document that tells developers exactly what they have to do to maintain that clean certification. So in some cases, they have to put additional soil on it. In some cases, they have to put a vapor membrane or some other kind of physical barrier. So until we have that soil management plan, we can't tell a developer what they need to do. My recommendation to the city has always been, we should put those 3 sites out for a request for proposals together, because that affords the best opportunity to seek a high quality developer who's capable, financially and experienced enough to implement a large plan. A developer could still propose to do a smaller portion of that, but if we offer the whole thing, then we have the best chance of getting the highest quality developers. Within the downtown, again, we need to have full site control. We need to have all of the environmental work completed. So until we're at that point, it's not in our best interest to put out an RFP or an RFQ, because the quality of responses we'll get will be less than what we're looking for, in my opinion.
Great. Thank you, Noel. Alderman Mozio, and then we will try to close this up.
We're trying to prolong this, but while I have it, Noel, we still are following the SOM plan.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm just
One might.
obviously, things get tweaked and get moved, and we don't follow verbatim and line for line and all that, but we're still following the SOM plan. Okay, I'm just wanting to
Yes,
make
and
sure.
that was reviewed again during our comprehensive land use plan work. As I described at that time, the comprehensive land use plan is sort of the 30,000-foot view. It's the overarching umbrella over everything else. And so all of those other plans fold up underneath that comprehensive plan. So the comprehensive plan effort reviewed that downtown lakefront master plan and confirmed that those goals still made sense. That was the right kind of development to pursue for those areas. And so it adopted that master plan as a sub-plan to the comprehensive land use plan.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and with that, I believe I am going to entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting. Motion by Alderman Florian, seconded by Alderman Hayes. And we will have a roll call, please.
Alderman Florian.
Aye.
Alderman Hayes.
Aye.
Alderman Turner.
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Chairman Rivera.
Aye. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. And thank you, Noel and Larissa, for the presentations. They were very, very good. Thank you very much, and good night.
Of a need for a biology break, we can take a short break. I know everyone's been sitting here for a while, so.